punished because that's girl stuff.
But you were playing roughhouse with boys and you weren't allowed to do that. Was that fair?
It was, because it shaped me. They were showing me about feminism.
But that's not fair though. The fact that she's rationalizing that trauma, she should have been able to play with whoever she wanted to play with. She should have been able to, roughhouse with the boys. That doesn't make you any less of a woman. The fact that she got in trouble and punished for that just tells you how ingrained strict gender roles are. Okay, let's do this thing.
I don't believe in people who look and dress up like voodoo dolls.
Girl, please.
Of makeup, who have an evil agenda of corrupting these children.
These people that are coming after us truly lack empathy and sometimes even humanity.
My worst scenario will be my kids being converted to changing their bodies.
That's not how that works, though. Wait, that's not how that works. Like, you can't convert someone into being a trans person or being a gay person. That's not how that works. And the fact that there's so much propaganda around conversion into LGBTQIA plus identities, it literally just shows me how embedded people's fears are based on how they get people to, do what they want. So like when I hear convert, I think of like religion, you know what I mean? And the fact that people are conflating being trans and being queer and being LGBT and are like, no, that's like a religion. That's not it. You don't get to, choose if you're trans. You don't get to choose if you're queer. You can choose what religion you believe in. You know what I mean?
We need to have a role model that isn't a drag
beautiful
queen or a pop star, just a normal person that is living their life out and proud and being who they are.
They're not fit to be in the community. They should be in mental institutions.
That's insane
until they
to
get
say
better
out loud.
to live with other humans.
This new old thing has taken over our society. Mockery, the relentless teardown of the other side. They're all hypocrites. They're all cowards. They're the enemy. To hell with them. The result? Relationships shattered, society split in half, with each of us taking sides. How many wonder, is there even another way?
You know what it is? I feel like it's really hard to connect with the other side because they are so hell-bent on having, like she said, she doesn't think that trans people deserve to be in society. I mean, I personally don't think, white supremacists and Nazis should be in society. Again, you can choose to be a white supremacist. You can choose to be a Nazi. You do not choose your gender. You do not choose your sexuality. The other side wants to live in peace, and the other is fascist cult. There is no middle ground. Yeah, you're not wrong.
I've been a peacemaker for 20 years.
I would be so uncomfortable in that situation.
What do you think of trans people?
It's insulting to God, who is the creator of heaven and earth. He's our creator, and it's also mocking other people's culture. I think trans people have the motivation to change the world the way it is and take it to a delusional world, and not all of us are real.
Why would they want to do that?
I think they go through a lot of rejection in life.
And they change their gender in order to be accepted in the community?
Yes, maybe because the opposite sex rejected them.
What do you think of people who have these judgments of you?
I cannot wait for her to cook.
I don't think you have empathy for other people that are different than you.
Real.
I think the motivation comes from a place of fear.
She's not wrong. I'm not gonna lie. This past year in 2025, I have let fear dictate a lot of what I do in my life. You know what I mean? And I've also come to realize just what people will do when they're acting out of fear. Like, not only just myself, but, people at large will fuck over other people out of their own fear, right? And the thing that the right and fascism capitalizes on is taking that fear and giving you an enemy like, you know, immigrants, trans people, queer people, people who aren't like you, and also telling you having empathy for those groups will get you killed or hurt or whatever. Whereas the people who are in those groups are more likely to get, you know, the brunt of those things. It really is crazy to me how most of the things in this world are happening are based off of fear and ego. I personally hate that everything is framed as a debate between sides. And the thing is also, like, I heard someone say this on a TikTok. The reason that the far right and fascists and Nazis want to debate people and why they are so inclined to is because that's how they got sucked into it, right? And if you can debate someone, you can legitimize the ideas that are being said. Even if the person that you're talking to in the debate doesn't believe you. So, like, even if it's not the other person you're debating, the people who are listening to it might be like, oh, that makes sense.
This clear-cut man and woman.
And why would they fear that?
Because it calls into question your femininity.
True.
And your view of masculinity. And if a man is not a man and a woman is not a woman, and you can be on the spectrum and it's not just one or the other, then you have to question where you fit.
So you have theories about each other's motivation.
Yeah.
And we're not testing them yet.
People who believe they are under threat almost always have a mistaken view of each other's motives. True.
Would your world be better off without these people?
I think that my day-to-day life would be easier. I don't think the world would be better. I don't think the world would be better without my parents.
Oh my God.
I don't think the world would be better without differing views. But it's hard not to feel that my world would be safer and trans kids' worlds would be safer if they weren't being demonized from a young age.
You know what it is?
And harassed and forced into suicide.
I like the fact that she's literally saying, oh my God, hi, how are you? I like the fact that she has the nuance to be able to say, my life would be better, but I don't think the world would be better. You know what I mean? And the fact that to be able to say those things. I don't know if the other woman will have the same points of views.
Tell me about your nightmare scenario, your nightmare political scenario.
I've been seeing it coming, living in San Francisco, where they're trying to gayify our children. They're even calling them their children. Right now, I have what my kids are learning in school. That learning how to hate your body is going to get you into an Ivy League school. We've seen people getting jobs just because they identify as trans or LGBT, but the same community does not want to add the D for detransitioners. They don't want the D. So that's a fake life.
It's crazy to hear this in person. I know people feel this way, but it's crazy to hear it.
What would your nightmare political scenario look like?
Trans people being even forced even further into self-hatred and a closet.
I know it's hard to actually sit in this uncomfortable situation, but if you're willing, convince the other person that you're right.
We are rolling back all of these protections for kids in school.
I think the other thing is, from my point of view, or from what I've seen online, when it comes to detransitioners, I don't think there's a problem with detransitioners. I don't think there's a problem with exploring your gender identity and then realizing you were wrong. The thing that I have a problem with is the fact that there are detransitioners out there who use their experience to try to delegitimize trans people.
to actually have anybody to talk to about this, where their parents think they're evil or these thoughts are wrong. We're seeing the numbers already of trans youth killing themselves.
True, she's not
You
wrong.
will never fully be a woman. The breasts are fake. You will eventually get breast cancer. You will eventually, I don't know if you had your penis removed. This is all delusional. These kids, their long life is going to be cut short because of the big pharmaceutical companies who are benefiting from mental illness. I'm sure you started taking your depression medicine, anxiety, and all this stuff. I need my kids to learn about technology, AI, medical stuff, not this garbage.
You know what's wild? Being trans and the amount of research that people have done on, like, trans people to legitimize it, and the fact that she's like, I want my kids to learn about technology, AI, medical stuff. There is medical research literally proving that transitioning saves trans people's lives. It helps with the depression. It helps with the anxiety. They literally, like, it's so fascinating to me when people say that trans people are the delusional ones, because to me it doesn't make sense, because trans people have always existed. This is historically, like, it's historical. They've found evidence of trans and non-binary people dating back to, like, Mesopotamia, y'all. Like, it's not a new thing, and the fact that people try to discredit evidence to say that trans people are delusional, non-binary people are delusional, to me, all that says is that low-key you're the delusional one, because you don't want to live in a reality where the actual facts don't care about your feelings. I can't believe I just pulled a facts over feelings. Sorry, y'all.
That is being taught in school. It's never gonna help them be a human being, a smart person. You're just gonna grow up being dumb.
Are you convinced in any way by each other?
No.
Yeah, never.
How do you feel about this person right now?
I live in the city. But
here's a real person. Here's a person.
Yes.
How do you feel?
Beautiful, but living a fake life. And eventually they do end up committing suicide because they don't get the happiness they're looking for.
Trans people have existed forever. You can look back in any culture and see that we have existed. People...
You know what's also fascinating to me? When she's talking about culture and the fact that literally indigenous cultures around the world have had more than two genders, right? It's the Western Eurocentric colonization that has happened that has made people disconnect from that fact, which is absolutely wild to me.
In your past, your ancestors have been in between genders. We are always here. We're going to continue to be here. And I don't want to pretend I'm anything but a trans person.
That never existed in my culture, nor in my world growing up. I actually used to get punished for being, playing with boys games. Boys were boys.
Because they were punished for doing anything else. Do you see how we're
putting lipsticks and all that? You will get punished because that's girl stuff.
But you were playing roughhouse with boys and you weren't allowed to do that. Was that fair?
It was, because it shaped me. They were showing me about feminism.
But that's not fair, though. The fact that she's rationalizing that trauma, she should have been able to play with whoever she wanted to play with. She should have been able to, roughhouse with the boys. That doesn't make you any less of a woman. The fact that she got in trouble and punished for that just tells you how ingrained strict gender roles are. Like, oh my God.
I was being groomed to be a wife, a woman, and not a tomboy. a man. I was
Notice how she said I was being groomed to be a wife, a woman, and not a tomboy. The fact that you have to groom children into these gender roles. Groom children into gender roles. Oh my God.
not being groomed to be a man. You're literally a genetically modified man. You're fake.
Every single person is shaped by hormones.
Yes.
You are shaped by hormones as
Yes.
a child. How do you know what my brain was like? There's been studies on trans people's
Fake
brains
studies
being...
because they get funded by big pharmaceutical companies.
So do you think trans and gay people should be killed?
They should not, but they should have the right information of being who they are.
Oh
you know,
my
Not being who they are.
no, of who they should be. You know who they are. I mean,
You should tell them who they should be.
not the real
Who makes the
story.
rules on who is who?
When you talk to the Americans who love and patriotic, Maga, they just want to make America great. They never used to have this nonsense.
This is a really good place to transition. Okay?
Oh my God.
I give you guys a lot of credit for going through this conversation because it ain't easy to be in either seat. And I want to point out this kind of conversation is not convincing probably anybody who's not already on your side.
That's
So I want to have
I don't know.
a different
honestly,
conversation
at
and
this
we'll see
point,
where it
I
goes.
probably would have left. Of course, the scientists know who I am, not me, of course.
So I'm going to ask, press emotional reset, and let's try to meet this person differently. Tell the other person about what's beautiful in your world.
She is not having
That's
it.
going to convey something about you. What is really moving, important, beautiful in your world?
What I feel that is more beautiful in my life is my children. Just the gift of being pregnant, feeling this, you know,
Aw.
the baby kicks, and just looking at the whole world, how God created us with, you know, the ability of having a body that can, like a kangaroo pouch, you know, hide your baby there, just give birth, the pain, and giving my children who are born here the opportunity to thrive and just experience the American dream.
What outside of your immediate family, what else is beautiful to you?
I have amazing friends. A lot of them are moms. I am with Moms for America. I am.
You know what it is? I think so many women get so trapped in being mothers that they forget who they are. And I'm not saying that being a mom or being a parent isn't something you should want if that's what you want. I think there is a lack of keeping your individualism as soon as you have a child. A lot of people get so engrossed in their children that they forget who they are. You know what I mean? And I can kind of see this with her.
Surrounded by a lot of serial Trumpers who have opened my eyes to a lot of things I never knew about America.
So what's beautiful in your world? And maybe it is Trump and Moms for America moves you.
This is not
But
going to age well for her.
where
I'm just gonna
you'd
say.
wake up and if it was your last day, you'd say, God, thank goodness for this in my world. And my guess is political connections are not what you'd say
Not
on your
just
last
that.
last day.
I lost
love
my
this
mom to
moderator.
breast
He's
cancer.
trying so hard.
And I started making knitted prosthetics and donating to women in the villages. The name
that's
of the
beautiful.
organization is
I love
Limao
that.
Cancer Connection. You know, you don't have a boob, I used to give you a boob. You don't have a friend.
And you know what that is? That's gender affirming care, y'all. That is gender affirming care, everyone. Oh my God, Pip, please get off.
When you're going through chemo, it will connect you with friends.
Why do you do that?
I come from a very philanthropic family where my mom used to come with produce from the village, rent a car, and carry food for the homeless and people who didn't have food. So we are always very giving. People who don't have anything. So
Why is that bringing emotion to you?
because by the time she was dying, nobody was there for her. The community judged her with losing her breasts. So they stigmatized her, and because they felt like, you know, catch breast cancer every time they'll be with her. And they showed up at her funeral, but they were not there for her when she was suffering for this whole year.
Oh my God.
So I'm imagining that as you hear this and like this deep care for other people, you're thinking something like, wow, not for my people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would ask why that's not extended. Why is a cis woman losing her breast different than a trans woman not having them?
Cancer is a disease. Transgender is cosmetic.
I want to see her response.
And I
I wanna
imagine
see
that's
her
somewhat
response to
painful.
this.
Yeah, I'm used to feeling excluded.
She's gonna make
Do you
me
have any
cry.
questions about what she finds beautiful in the world?
I mean, personal questions?
Yeah, about what she finds
She doesn't
beautiful,
even
and
wanna
not
look at
to
her,
prove a
which is
point of
wild.
yours,
Yeah.
but curiosity about her life.
Who are the majority of your family, friends? Are they people in the LGBT community?
A large part of my friends are straight and cis, and I find that as I continue to live my life as a woman, I have more in common with women who date men than with the gay communities. Most of the time I actually just don't feel gay.
Well, it's because she's a straight trans woman. Rewatching this hits different. The thing is, like, I think that is a conversation that needs to be had when it comes to straight trans people within the community, because there is such a lack of support for straight trans people because they, I don't want to say that the community is like, oh, because you date men, like you're a horrible person. You know what I mean? But the thing is, it makes sense that she would connect more with straight women and like that side, especially, I think she passes fairly well. So like she moves through the world as a straight woman. You know what I mean? So it makes sense that she connects more with the straight community. And I guarantee you that the woman sitting across from her, I wish I knew their names, actually. I really wish I knew their names. I don't think she was expecting that.
I'm a woman who loves a man and wants a family.
So your boyfriend is a straight man?
Yes, he's never dated anybody outside of
Wait, they're
cis
so
women
cute.
before.
Cis means, do you know what cis means?
It means that your birth sex matches your gender identity, how you feel inside.
All right.
So basically anybody that's not trans.
Okay. So why do we need to learn all this?
Well, it's easier than saying somebody born a certain way that feels a certain way.
I feel like it's unfair
It's just an
because
adjective.
why do they have to transition using my taxpayers' dollars?
What I'd like is for each of you to have
Oh, ma'am, trust me. If we were using taxpayers' dollars to transition, I would have had my titties off a long time ago. Whew. Okay, I'm good. I'm done.
an opportunity to be known. And part of you being known is that you have concerns about your kids. That's where these questions are coming from. But right now, if you're asking questions, what I love for it to be is because you're interested in Eve as the person.
Okay, her name is Eve.
And vice versa. Share with the other person what has been the
He's
hardest
a great moderator, by
experience.
the way.
Struggling to make ends meet, but the government is using money, taxpayers' money, to transition people.
Why is
That's
this
not how that-
this
that's
particular
not what's
experience the
happening.
hardest in your life? I want to make sure that we're not
Like I said, if that was happening, trans people would be a lot happier.
each in this moment trying to make a persuasive case.
The hardest thing for me, honestly, is just being scared about my children's future.
Okay. And something I didn't ask
But
you to
the
do
thing
before,
is,
if you're
I feel like there's so much more to be worried about in a child's future than what their gender is. Or where is that happening? Literally. Have you ever seen the trans medical card from the government? No, she hasn't. I feel like there's so much more to be worried about when it comes to having a child than who they love and what their gender is. I mean, for me, one of the reasons I don't want kids in this country, if I lived in a different country, I would want like one. But I think it's so selfish to have kids in this country because there's so much to worry about them other than them being trans and being gay. School shootings, y'all. That's number one. Also, all of the predators. You know what I mean? Like, I would be more worried about taking my child to a church because statistically that happens more at a church than a drag show. You know what I mean? It just doesn't, it's so weird to me. It's so odd, and I will never understand that those are the gripes that people have when they say that they're worried about their kids' future, when there's more harm that can be done to them from other things.
Willing to, because it might be easier to just speak as people, is if you're okay with taking your hat off.
I didn't even comb my hair. I can wrap my African thing. I mean, if it's gonna...
Yeah, why don't you try that?
Yeah, okay.
Uniforms that express clear loyalty motivates one other side, but guarantee you'll be respected by the other.
What do you call this?
I like that
the
she
head
took it
wrap?
off.
It's just a head wrap. We
But
call
it's
it like
traditional, right?
Lesso. Yeah.
Lesso.
Yeah. So
How do you feel wearing it?
it's my crown as a woman, as an African woman. We were taught how to cover our hair, especially when we're praying to God. It's just a sign of respect.
I'd like to go back to part of a conversation about the hardest experience that you've had. And in both, these could be related to trans, but I suspect that's not the hardest if we're really to understand you as a human being.
My children's father, he took my children away from me.
Oh my God.
Where he refused for me to come to America with them. They were born here. And so 8 years of not living with my children and having to travel to Kenya every year, and then having a mom who was battling breast cancer, using all my savings to help her, access cancer care. He was very mean, where he had all these girlfriends and will make them be like stepmoms.
I feel like this just demonstrates how much people need a scapegoat and people need to have an other to put all of their gripes onto, if that makes sense.
They're literally beg to see my children. Sometimes I'll travel home, he'll refuse. And so I think it was the trauma of mom is gone, I don't have my kids.
And then losing her, and then losing your kids at the same time.
Yeah.
And you never want to go back to that place.
It's the only thing I have left. And the weaponization of the education is taking me back.
Yeah.
So I just don't wake up to fight just for nothing. There's no point of living if I don't have my kids. Whether it's through dead naming, whether it's them living fake life.
What do you imagine you'd be experiencing if your kids said to you, I'm trans?
It's not about the parent, though. Like, it's not about the parent. It really is so interesting. Okay, I need to stop pausing this, but it's just so
A
fascinating.
lot of sadness. I think I'll be on drugs to help me just numb my pain.
Because why? What's the pain about?
Because I know who's making profits out of it.
That's not the pain.
Yeah, that's not
That's
pain.
you looking at the outside world and being angry. But why are you experiencing pain?
I failed as a mom.
That's
failure.
the pain.
Why?
Because
she
I
sees
did not
being
point them to
trans
the right
as a moral
direction.
failure.
They're not going to be happy?
Directly onto her. That's the thing that I really wish people would think about before they have kids. Your child is a whole other person That is not an extension of you. And there's only so much you can do when it comes to like raising your kids and how they're going to turn out. You know what I mean? But that doesn't, I mean, obviously you have a part to play in it. But your kid being trans or your kid being gay, it's not a moral reflecting back on you of if you failed them or not.
We're talking about permanent surgeries. Right now, the government sponsors.
Okay, but let's be real. People have knee surgery and regret it more than trans people regret their gender-affirming care.
Eventually, they come back and tell me, Mom, it was a mistake. Why does the government come and takes away my children? Why? And weaponize the kids against their parents.
So there's different pieces in this. There's the piece about them suffering that I'm hearing, and that I get. I can feel it for you. Whether you're right or not is another issue.
Right.
But that's your sincere concern. But what about the loss of them?
I will not lose the person, but I'll lose the child that I always wanted to raise. I think I'll just have like a walking shell.
That the person you know won't be there anymore?
Right.
That they'll still be a person, but they won't be the person you know.
Exactly.
And that will feel like them going away, them dying.
Yeah.
This guy is great.
They just will not be existing.
I want to ask you the same question.
The hardest experience of my entire life was telling my parents how I've felt since I was a child. Telling my parents that every birthday cake I blew out, I wished I was a girl. Since I was a young child, I knew that they wouldn't accept who I am. And I prayed every night for it to go away. I waited for God to take away these feelings. I went to church, I prayed, I read the Bible, and I waited as long as I could. I waited until I was 24, and these feelings never stopped. And I told my parents,
you can see
and
it
I was
in
met
her
with
face,
rejection.
too. Like, there's a look in every single trans and non-binary person's eyes before they transition. It's literally this look of I am just so, and it's different than a I'm depressed look. You know what I mean? Like, it's just this very specific kind of sadness that I feel like happens in trans and non-binary folk. And the reason, I'm gonna get choked up. The reason I'm like, I can see that, and I can see that level of sadness, and I'm like, when I look back at old photos of myself, I see exactly her expression looking back at me.
And hate and revulsion. My dad called me an abomination, and he screamed at me, "You will never be a woman." And in that moment, I knew I was an abomination. I had read the Bible. I had heard my dad talk about trans people and gay people, and talk how much he hated me without knowing who I was. And yet I couldn't help but tell him how I felt and lose my entire family.
What was it like to lose your family?
Just a constant.
What's wild? I will never understand when people say, oh, the trans person is the one who like tore the family up, because it's literally your child, your family member is telling you who they are. They're letting you in to let you know, hey, this is who I am. And being called all those things, not having support of your family is what kills trans people.
Nagging pain of being pushed away by the people that I care about the most. And I don't want to be trans. I don't want this life. I wanted to be a man. I tried to be a good boy. I tried. And it reached the point where I I couldn't take it. And I got the things together to commit suicide. I mean, I loved my dad and I loved my mom. My dad was my best friend. And to have him look me in the eye and just tell me he hates this person that I am it shattered my entire world.
You told them and they had this your dad had this reaction, and there you are.
Yeah.
How does it end? Does your dad walk away? Do you walk away?
I just remember sitting across the room from both my parents, crying and wanting to be held. This was the start of my parents not loving me anymore for who I am. I knew it was the start of that. I saw in their eyes that they no longer knew me or wanted me because I was now somebody different than who they wanted me to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about everything you had to go through. Have you put yourself in their position?
Yes.
I know for a fact that my parents chose this reaction out of a sense that this was for my own good. They are out of touch with the reality that this is beyond a phase or it's beyond programming. But I have reached out to my parents more times than I can count.
Why?
Because I love them. It's been over 10 years.
Oh
I
God.
know that I'm not a cis woman. I know I can't have a baby. I know this every time that me and my boyfriend talk about wanting to have a family. I am assaulted with the fact that I am not a woman every day. And yet, I can't help but feel that I am. And every day I wake up and look in the mirror, and no matter what anybody else tells me, I hear that my dad knows that I will always be a man. It's my best friend, it's my father, it's the person who showed me how to be kind and love other people. And yet when it comes to me being
God.
myself,
Jesus.
he couldn't.
She is so strong. Because I don't know if I would have been able to stay and say all of this. I think trans people as a whole, I think we experience the worst of humanity when it comes to this kind of thing happening in a very specific way. I'm not saying, listen, there are all kinds of oppression, but there's such a specific way in which people hate trans people, and it's so dehumanizing, and it's so painful to go about our lives knowing the things that we know. I mean, she explains it perfectly.
Extend that love to his child. And that's what hits the hardest, is knowing that their belief in their specific idea of their religion is more important than me as their child.
Yeah, that is the thing that has kept me away from my brother and his family. That their idea of their religion is more important than me as your sibling, as your family member. Choosing a God that you have no proof of actually existing over a real life, living human being will never cease to amaze me. I will never understand the argument. I think it's such a cop-out. I think religious people are some of the most fearful people in this world, and most narcissistic and all of that. But that is such a, oh my God, that sums it up perfectly. The specific idea of their religion is more important than me. As a physical human person standing in front of you, you're saying that you care more about your weird, shitty, like, God more than a living human being in front of you. And the fact is that so many people, and I'm thinking mostly like Christianity. They don't even read the Bible. Like, they cherry pick everything. And the fact that they're willing to stand behind a God that they don't even historically understand where he came from is actually insane.
I have a question for you, Nancy.
Okay, her name's
I just want you to know that I have a small idea of what it's like to lose a mother. And it's small. It's nothing like yours. My mother is not dead. But she has made herself dead to me. And there's a special place in the world for mothers, and I feel called to be a mother. It won't be to my genetic child, and I know how important and special that relationship is, and I'm really sorry that that happened to you.
Thank you.
Oh
I
my
just
God.
feel very sad for his parents, and that's why I'm trying to really prevent to being there. If we don't intervene right now,
So you have this fundamental belief, whether it's correct or not, that something could have been done so that Eve didn't end up in this place.
Yeah. I mean, I still wish that were the case. I don't want to be trans. Who would pick this? Who would want to do this? Who would want, like, it's unreal. The amount of...
You know what it is? I was actually, oh my God, I am gonna cry. I was thinking about this because it takes so long to get comfortable being trans, being non-binary. I genuinely, like, I really do believe in my soul, in my essence, that no matter what body I am in, whoever I am, like, I do believe that is an experience I will have over and over again. Because I just fundamentally think and know that is, like, who I am to the core. Living in this society, I agree with her. I don't think anyone would choose to be trans in this particular society at this point in time because of the dehumanization, because of the harassment, the murder, the sexualization, the everything that goes along with being trans or being non-binary in this society. It's feeling that disconnect from your body, oh my God, every single day is absolutely heartbreaking. It's one of the reasons I disassociate so much. It's one of the reasons why I advocate so hard for trans joy, because we have all felt this kind of pain before. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry.
hate that I've received from people who don't know me, the amount of hate that I've received from my parents and all of my friends and family, short of one or two people.
it's sad. Like, why?
It's a loss of that whole gift.
Yeah, we deserve happiness. So, how did we get here? Was God wrong?
I don't know how we got here. I went to a private Christian school. I had Bible class. My grandfather was a preacher. My mom was the principal at the school that I went to. Every teacher that I went to school with was handpicked by my mom. I grew up in every member of my family and friends went to the same church. I was popular in high school. I mean, not the most popular because I was Christian, honestly. I didn't go to parties and do drugs or anything. I was very religious, and that separated me from people in high school. But I did not have a problem. Girls loved me. I was very
I wonder why the girls
attractive.
loved her.
I had friends. I played sport every season, and I still had these feelings the entire time.
I mean, I've been thinking of taking my kids to private Christian school, so that's not going to be a solution.
And I didn't even have the internet.
Right.
I didn't even know what being gay was.
We're gonna We're going to transition to another part of the conversation in a moment, but I also want to ask you both, what has been the best experience of your life?
Oh.
Where you were the happiest?
We need some happy times right now.
Right.
Oh my God.
My kids coming
She's so
to America. I think I celebrated so hard. And I reconnected with God at another level. I was in Kenya, in a place called Nanyuki, which faces Mount Kenya. When we always believe Mount Kenya is Mount Zion in the Bible. So my girlfriend turns around and says, "You look so sad." I said, "I'm going back to the US next week. I've been here for a couple of months. I've been doing this for 8 years." And I said, "I'm tired. I'm tired of every time I visit. I go home without my kids." So my friend told me, "Why don't you face her? Tell her what you want." And I was like, "Face who?" "Like the mountain." And she's like, "The freedom fighters used to face the mountain and they'll tell God we're hungry and God will give us rain." And I said, "God, I just want my kids back. I want my kids in America with me. If you're a God that hears, just hear me out." And I don't know, for some reason, I just felt a lot of peace after that. I had to go visit my kids.
You know what's wild? You know what it is? I do think there are places on this earth that are more tapped into, like, the spiritual connection of the actual planet. I'm about to get a little ooh-woo right now. And I do think certain mountains, certain, like, forests, that kind of thing. To me, the closest I've ever felt to God or anything like that has always been when I'm sitting in nature. And to me, when I've asked nature or the wind or a tree for something, to me that's God. To me that's a real thing. You know what I mean? Her story is beautiful in the sense that she was able to look at something so much bigger than her and connect with it and find peace after that, right? I think every single person, every single soul deserves to find peace in their lifetime, right? It's just so odd to me when people go looking for that peace and find it in something like Trump and something like harmful ideologies and not having it circle back to community and we're all one person and we're all of everything.
It's cool.
Maybe that's
Kiss
just me
goodbye
being, like I said, a little
until the following year. I'm going back to America to make money so I can be able to come back and give them a vacation. I was living a very meaningless life.
Jacob.
A month later, after I came back, I get a call from their dad saying, "You can have the kids. My businesses are they're not doing very well." 3 months later, my children were here.
So that was kind of like a concentrated hope of kind of eternal connection to your kids.
Yeah. And I feel like God had to make me go through this experience for me to be an example to other people or to be able to advocate. And the parents who live every day with their kids, they don't understand the pain. It's like you never know what you have until you lose it.
Yeah. So same question for you, Eve.
My happiest moment was being surrounded by family, but not my blood family. On my 30th birthday,
Oh, stop.
which was 5 years ago now,
She's
I
35. Damn.
was at a music festival. There was music playing and all
Oh my
of my
God,
friends
stop.
were around and they all gave me
Girl, get it.
a hug together. And it was feeling the warmth of genuine love. They loved me for me. I never thought I'd feel it again after my family rejected me. I never thought I'd feel loved and welcomed by a group of people that know me
She really is
deeply.
gonna make
That
me
was my
cry.
happiest moment of my life, hands down.
It seems obvious to me your painful moments are loss of that deepest connection to the ones you love. And your happiest moment is that that experience is over.
We kind of have this similar stories.
They do
When I
have similar
speak like
stories.
this,
Hold on, I have to go to the bathroom real quick. I've been drinking a lot of water. Okay, y'all, back to
I
it.
want people to accept me. When she speaks, she wants people to accept her and not put her in a box that we want to put her.
Oh my God, she's using
You know,
the right
I think our
pronouns.
ancestors were very smart when they say, do not lose your identity. Just be who you are and take your culture wherever you go.
In my life, one of the biggest lessons is learning that you can't be somebody you're not.
It's interesting you both have that as a lesson in very different
True.
ways.
Yeah.
Very different
Mine
ways.
is regardless of culture, regardless of tradition, you die as one person, and that person is who you have to be true to.
She's not wrong. Why does this matter to you so much? Because it's my experience, bro. Like,
Where we were, where we started, was distance. The other person is very different than me. And where we've gone so far is, who are you? Who are you as a person? And we're going to go a little bit deeper into that. Why are you doing this project? There are a lot of people who wouldn't, particularly on an issue like this.
I have a personal story. My mother took her last breath while I was driving across the Golden Gate Bridge. She died on my ear. And I said, Mom, you're dying. She just said, yes, we're very, very faintly. She was in Kenya. She was coughing uncontrollably. I think the breast cancer had reached her lungs. The nurse gave her the phone at the back of the ambulance, and she took her last breath. I was driving on top of the Golden Gate Bridge coming from Oakland, heading back to San Francisco. I've been a bridge to a lot of people, and I feel like that's my purpose in life. So I wanted to do this because maybe I'm a bridge to some parents who also have the same fear as I am. Can we love and extend our love to people like Eve who deserve love? Extend our compassion to her parents who, up to now, I can't imagine how they sleep.
I have a very similar reason for being here. A lot of the rhetoric pointed at us is scary, and a lot of us are killed.
Yeah.
If not suicide, it's the other. And as somebody that has strength and is very lucky in life, I feel called to be a voice. I think it's especially important for young trans people to see. I want to connect people, and I know that I didn't know what a trans person was, and I was one. And that's a tough place to be in.
yeah. Not having the language for the things that you're experiencing is extremely difficult, and the fact that she was in a religious environment probably made it worse. I like this video because everyone comes to the table with their own point of view, right? Everyone comes to a situation, meeting people with all of their baggage. And one of the things I think in general that has happened is completely dehumanizing people on both sides. You know what I mean? And especially as someone who has extreme black and white thinking, I do this a lot. It's something that I am actively working on and actively have to work on every single day. Weirdly enough, one of my New Year's resolutions has been to let people be, in the sense that I need to stop coming at people with the ideas of what I think they should do and be and that kind of thing, because, you know, it's not helpful, and it doesn't allow people to truly be themselves, if that makes sense. And I think that's something that, as a whole, the divisiveness and scariness has kind of chipped away at that within our society at large, which is unfortunate. And realizing that, you know, every single person has a reason for why they think the way they do. I do believe there are genuinely evil people out there. I do believe that. But I also believe that the majority of people are good. And I have to believe that. I have to believe that. Especially in 2026, y'all. I have to believe that for my own sanity.
But the similar life thing is, for me, so interesting because I've done this with lots of different folks. These people who view themselves on the opposite side of this thing, whatever their thing is, and this is obviously a powerful one, just kind of live very similar lives. Like, almost like
they're mirroring each
if
other.
not for these thoughts about each other, they'd be in each other's lives. What I'd like to ask you now, what you believe the other person or the other side does not understand about you fully, or your side. So who is willing to hear first, to listen?
I want to listen. I want to hear.
I want you to understand, as a trans woman, I just want to be normal. I don't want to come for anything else. I don't want to take anything away or make anybody do anything they don't want to do or don't feel comfortable with. Trans people do not need much. Just the same care and respect that you would give to any other human.
You said you don't need anything, but you need my approval.
No. I don't need your approval. And I don't need your acceptance, even. I would love it, but I ask for respect to exist in the same world and chase after the same goals.
You have all the rights to be loved, to exist, and nobody should make you feel less of a human.
Honestly, I appreciate that because I do feel like so much of what people, when people are like, oh, you transition for other people, you transition for other people, or you're looking for other people's approval when you're saying like, say my pronouns and all of that kind of stuff, or call me by the correct name, that kind of thing. It genuinely isn't about anything other than respect, and that's it. Respect doesn't mean acceptance. Respect doesn't mean approval. Respect the fact that trans people are people. And the thing is, I want people to be able to respect people like Eve, you know, who she's a straight woman, not really in like queer spaces, and like I said, she passes fairly well. I want people to be able to respect her, but also respect trans people who don't pass, trans people who quote unquote confuse you, non-binary people. Every single person is living their own universe, is living their own life. And this world is big enough for every single person to be able to carve that out for themselves. And yeah, you're not wrong. This video is pretty healing for me, and I wish this was how people debated. I really give props to the moderator, honestly.
That feels good to hear you say that.
I also appreciate the fact that he literally is giving them both the opportunity to say who they are. In so many of these like debates, quote unquote, I would call this a discussion, honestly, because I don't think it's a debate. In the beginning, you know, when they were both had their guards up and everything, I would say that's more of a debating. But as soon as you ask, oh, who are you? You're humanizing someone. That's a person. And it needs to be normalized. So then we can be able to be like, okay, you are in fact not a good person or you are a good person. You know what I mean? I wish, I love this guy. Like, he's doing such a good job.
Switch. What do you want Eve or someone like Eve, people on that side, to understand?
I want the trans community to understand my fear, my children, and anything that is going to deviate them from my role as a mom. The trans community has been very aggressive in terms of their advocacy, and where we're coming in as parents is staying away from the children.
I'm hearing that you are afraid that trans people are going to force a wedge in between you and your children and force them to be something they're not.
Indoctrinate.
I was indoctrinated, I understand. But I was indoctrinated with the Bible.
By saying you were indoctrinated with the Bible and that you understand, maybe you're meaning to offer some understanding, but it's not going to feel like it on the other side.
Oh my God. See, this, I like this. I like this. Because the thing is, he wants both sides to be heard. This moderator is fantastic. He needs to moderate, like, everything. Like, because Eve is trying to connect to Nancy, right? And be like, well, this is my experience with indoctrination. And so I appreciate this, actually. I appreciate him having this little interjection.
Okay. You are saying that you fear that this movement of trans people and genderqueer and LGBT movement is going to force your kids onto a path of harm?
Yeah, because remember, my children are Africans and they have a culture, they have a heritage. When my children were coming to America, my dad told them, do not leave your culture, never forget where you come from.
So this is in service or out of care for your father?
One of the younger son carries his name.
What if that breaks? I want to understand the consequence.
It breaks the lineage.
And what's the problem with that?
It's a curse. A lot of people who have done that, they die mysteriously. They live very bad lives. There's a very famous guy called Brian Chira, and he did face a lot of ridicule from the community, which I was feeling sad. He was a gay boy. He just wanted to be accepted. And when he died out of a motorbike accident, the grandfather refused to have him get buried in the land because it was a curse.
And doom them and your family as a whole and split you apart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is she understanding you?
I get that.
Yes.
And what's that like?
I mean, it feels good to just understand the emotions. By the end of the day, it just, all of us are coming from a point of love, humanity, and we've been so divided.
That is such listen, I'm a white person. I will never understand fully, but I think that fear of losing your culture, losing connection to your family, losing connection to ancestors is extremely valid. I think that fear is extremely valid, and especially when you come to America and the assimilation process, and I would argue the indoctrination into American culture, and having that fear of losing the connection to, you know, your country and your culture and your people. I genuinely think that is an extremely valid fear for her to have for her children, because I think she does want them to remember where they came from and who they are and the connection that they have. And it's something that being in the United States has stripped away from millions and millions and millions of people. I would argue billions over the years. I understand.
In the modern world. So it feels good when someone looks at the world through my eyes.
She brought something, and I want to share it with you, not to convince you of anything.
Sure.
Okay? But just so you can see what she believes is an assault.
So this is what I came across my children. My 15-year-old, he learned this when he was 14, just getting into the first semester for his 9th grade. He came and told me, Mom, they're showing porn in school. It was a movie of 2 boys kissing, all that. And the subject was sex education. He had come from Kenya, and he's a teenager where the hormones are all over. He's trying to get a sense of belonging and not be separated from his friends, new friends. And he was rushing out of this to go to school, and a bunch of these papers fell. And I said, oh, let me see. And I almost lost my mind. The paper is called Sex Unit Terms.
So the terms that the kids are asked to understand both definitionally and in different scenarios is sexual orientation, sexual preference, gay, lesbian, straight, bisexual, queer, bicurious, gray sexual, demi-romantic,
Love that for us.
demisexual, down low, drag king, drag queen, emotional attraction.
Can I just say, I wish I had this curriculum when I was young. Oh my God, I would love that curriculum.
Polyamorous, pansexual, aromantic, FTM, F2M, MTF, M2F, gender binary, gender fluid, gender nonconforming, homophobia, intersex, MSM, meaning men, sex men, WSW, meaning women, sex women, transgender, questioning, allies, two-spirited,
Sorry,
advocate,
no, you were all good.
androgyny, androsexual, asexual, bigender, biological sex,
Okay, no.
biphobia, cisism, cissexism, closeted, coming out, cross-gender, gender expression, heteronormativity, and skiliosexual.
Even just being as a religious person, but like with your background on top of that, I can see so many of those being incredibly problematic for you.
And that it's public school.
Yeah.
The thing is, the reason, first of all, these are just terminology, right? So, and especially when young people are getting to, 14th, I mean, not 14, oh my God, when they're turning 14, 15, 16, I genuinely think that is age appropriate. Just learning about the terminology. For a extremely religious person, I agree with her. I can see why it would
And
be
that
problematic.
she can't bring her children out of public school because she doesn't have the
But that doesn't mean that those kids should lose out access to knowing those words and the definitions and all of that.
resources to do that.
Yeah.
Especially because they're in California, and isn't California ranked really high in education?
I can see how that's terrifying.
There's an app the kids are told to use where they can meet gay and trans partners. Grindr.
They talk about that in school?
Yeah, they're given those options and meeting them at the park.
You feel that you're losing the ability to parent your children and they're being parented from their school instead.
I think that you connected deeply. Those words really resonated for you, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
We are used to
Can I just say, I don't think they should be promoting Grindr in school. I'm just saying.
using very strong words, fighting the people who are taking away our parental rights, and clustering people like Eve who love who they are in the same boat. And so, I don't see her as evil. But when I'm doing my advocacy, that's the word that I use.
Yeah.
But it's not supposed to be used on her.
What has shifted in Nancy? Listen to her. Oh my God, yes.
I feel like we're both being trampled together on different sides.
Yep.
We're both being used as the enemy. I think you have every right to raise your children exactly how you feel, with whatever history and ancestry and religion that you deem necessary. And that makes me really sad to hear. I didn't really know that.
Yeah, spiritually, emotionally.
Sweet boy, why are you so...
And I've seen the consequences of parental curse. And every day I pray to God and I say, God, don't let it happen. They deserve a good life. I want to be the best mom.
It also just goes to show how much people subconsciously know that you will have a harder life currently, which I hope will change in the next 10-15 years, if you are gay or trans. So the fear of your kids having a harder life can turn into the fear of, trans people, gay people, that kind of thing. Listen, it's not right. It is not good whatsoever. It's that subconscious programming that so many people haven't looked at or tackled. And this is why it's so important to, one, educate yourself, and also to go be around people who are not similar to you, so that you can actively be like, okay, who are you? What views do you have? Do I agree with you? No? Okay. But there's so many more people that once they meet a gay person, a trans person, a non-binary person, that once they know someone, it changes their perspective, because it's like, oh, that's my friend.
And
Listen, I'm not saying be friends with Maga. That is not what I'm saying whatsoever.
that's my legacy.
Okay. I want to ask Eve, and then we're going to move to another piece of this. Mm-hmm. Is there more that you'd like her to understand?
I think what I want you to understand from my point of view is that I was never happy until I accepted who I was.
Meeting Eve, she's a human who wants to be who she wants to be. And I would drink from the same cup as her. I don't see her like this demon that, has been created. But the agenda has just been wrong.
Y'all, there's...
You live in the city?
I'm about to move to San Francisco.
I mean, that's the best.
I can't wait. Do you go to Outside Lands?
Yeah, I love it. So I love the events. I love this vibrancy of the city, but I do enjoy my own quiet time, reading, watching movies and stuff. So it's been just a transition, and I love the weather.
Oh yeah.
San Francisco is the only city I can wear boots the whole entire year.
Always dress cute.
Yeah.
You can always wear a little jacket. You get to wear layers. It's incredible. Yeah, it's great.
Are you still grounded in praying?
I still pray. I still believe in God. I probably would say I don't believe in the same God as my parents. I don't believe in the God that, told the Israelites to rape and pillage. I believe in Jesus' message. It's about love, and it's about acceptance.
Just wondering, who is this God? What does he really want?
Politics no more, thank the Lord.
In this last exercise, the goal is to bring you even deeper into each other's experience. That's why you're sitting in each other's seats. And what you're going to do is you're going to speak on the other person's behalf. You're going to present what they want the other side to hear. I'm not asking you to believe it. I'm just asking you to occupy those beliefs for a moment and to feel what it feels like. Again, you're not here to be persuaded. My hope is that you each leave with the passion that you had, at least about why it matters to you. Who is willing to essentially play the other person for a moment first?
I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll go first. I would like Eve to hear and understand that as a parent, I have a right to my history and my culture and my religion. I feel stuck and trapped knowing that I don't get to be the person that raises my child, and I don't want them turning into something that they are not.
What I hear you, Nancy, saying is that you want to be in total control of what your children are learning in school.
I believe it is a curse and a generational death sentence in a way, in order if they are forced on a path that they did not choose.
But the thing is, every child deserves to have that choice, though. Every person... And I also feel like we, not only just society at large, but also in the queer community, demonize people being wrong about who they are so much when this experience, this life... Oh my god, Pippin, you are actually being a menace. Oh my god, hold up. This cat really said, you're not paying attention to me. I know, I'm almost done, Pip, you're fine. We have demonized being wrong, but I feel like the most oddly weird, beautiful thing you can do is be wrong, because then you are actively learning. You're actively saying, I don't have an ego, I can accept I am wrong about something. And when you're wrong about your identity, that doesn't mean that you are like a morally corrupt person. It doesn't mean that at that point in time that didn't fit you, or that you didn't connect with that experience or that label or whatever. It just means, oh, I thought that's something that I was, and it turns out I wasn't. There needs to be so much more, I hate to use the word grace, but there needs to be so much more grace in this world for people to just explore.
I'm concerned that my kids in a vacuum would be straight and on the path that I put for them. I want my kids to be educated and know options. I don't want them to be tricked.
So you want transparency with no sneaky games?
I would do anything to protect them and myself from any more loss, because I can't take it anymore. I don't want any more suffering in my family and any more loss.
This is the only thing she has left in life that gives her meaning to live.
So I want to switch roles. Eve, what do you feel like they don't fully understand?
We are born different, and we are still humans regardless of who we choose to be, and we deserve love and respect from the community and our family.
Eve said people are born different and they don't have a choice in the matter.
With everything that I have gone through, I attempted suicide because I was not accepted by people who claimed to love me. I would have preferred to have my family spend birthdays with me. I miss them.
Wow. So you can see the impact you're having.
I turned into creativity where I make money through my emotions and making the world, painting the world to be the world that I want to live in and making people happy.
Oh my God,
and,
her art's gorgeous.
It's been the best therapy ever. I'm in a loving relationship. I have a new community of people who understand me. I miss my parents, and I wish they will change that.
But you still want that love from them and acceptance from them.
I really like, okay. As someone who has cut off a parent, it never gets easier. I hate to say that. That feeling, oh my God, I'm gonna cry. That feeling of wanting to be seen by your parent, to be loved in the way that you need to be loved from them, that never goes away. Because at the end of the day, that was the first person or people who are supposed to protect you. And I think one of the most heartbreaking and beautiful things you can do for yourself when your family is abusive, toxic, doesn't accept who you are, is to choose yourself every single day and to appreciate who you are. But it never gets easier in the sense of when you think about the relationship, or if you do end up thinking about them, which I try very hard not to think about, it still is that I wish that my parent could love me. I wish that they could have been what I needed them to be. It sucks, y'all.
I don't want anything. All I need is to just see me as a person and not here to cause any harm.
And I think that's what every single child wants. Every single, or at least a majority of people, just wants their parents to see them as a person and to be proud of what they're doing and to genuinely have unconditional love, which I think is very hard to find in this world because we're built on a society of transaction, right? But I think that's all any child, straight, trans, cis, gay, wants, is to just be seen as a person by their parents.
You're saying you just want to exist as a person. You don't want to hurt anybody. You don't want to change anybody. You just want love and acceptance for who you are.
I was raised to be a good person, and that's who I am today.
Stop.
Is she understanding you?
Nancy, you're getting me.
Yes.
And have you been understood?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
let's
that's
switch
crazy.
back to your own seat. So now you're yourself again. There were two parts to that experience. One is you embodied the other person. The other part of the experience is that you watch the other person
This
play
is
you.
so therapeutic.
What did you think about that experience?
Is this man a
I
therapist?
think it was
'Cause, oh my
good.
God, he's doing great.
To just understand where Eve is coming from. When I first came, I thought she'll just give me the same narrative as what we see on YouTube. You know, she just comes from the perfect family. Mommy, dad, boy, girl, the Holy Trinity. I felt proud of Eve. She's done so much to be who she is today. The only missing puzzle, I think, if the parents loved her and accepted her, she's now an adult. And so for how long are the parents going to inhabit this hostility towards her?
What was it like for you to observe Eve playing Nancy?
She got it. She got me. I think with the strong cultural views and the religion.
And what was that like to be gotten by somebody who at the beginning seemed so separate from you, so
Right.
distant from you.
I wish we had more people like her on the advocacy front line. Maybe we'll not be having all this division. She understands my fears and what I want.
First of all, the reason why it appears, at least online, that, and like I contribute to this, because like, let's be real, that there's so much quote unquote aggression or whatever from like the trans community, non-binary community, LGBTQIA plus community. The loudest voices will always get the most views. You have to be loud. And then it's the unfortunate thing about content creation. It's an unfortunate thing about media in general. You have to, say the most divisive things, right? I personally don't think I've said divisive things, but I definitely have like dunked on trans medicalism and those kind of things, because I genuinely do believe it's toxic. But like in real life, I genuinely think I need to be doing more advocacy in real life and for my community and that kind of stuff. But online can also be the only place where people have an outlet to say these things. I am fairly, out and open in my personal life, but this is the only place that I really talk about these kind of things. You know what I mean? And so if you're only seeing what a queer person or a trans person or a non-binary person is putting online, of course you're not going to see us as quote-unquote person, because we're not showing our whole personalities. We're not showing you everything, because the algorithm wants specifically what it wants. And that's the unfortunate part. That's the unfortunate thing about it, which is why if you want to actually learn about things or groups of people, it probably is better to go into like the spaces and actively meet people in real life. I mean, the reason why I have such a disdain for religious people, for, Maga, is because I know those people in real life. I've been around those kind of people in real life. And they get so much of their information from online propaganda. It's so hard to fight that reality.
It was a good experience just seeing the world through her eyes.
Okay, thank you. So same questions for you.
Yeah, I mean, when you first came in with the Trump hat, I was ready for you to tell me how much you hated me just for existing, just for being a person at all, the amount. And then to hear your story and know where you're coming from to be where you are. And then to play you, it brought it all together. Those fears and that anger really came to light a lot more when I understood who you were and how important your culture is in your child's lives, and to feel the powerlessness of somebody who is supposed to be the most impactful person in your child's life. I understand you, and it makes sense why you feel the way you do.
The thing is, it makes sense why she feels the way it does. I personally don't agree with it, because I think the most important thing that you can do is teach your child about all kinds of ways of living. I think you can teach your child about alternative cultures and people and ideologies and that kind of stuff, and still hold on to, your own culture and, your family and those connections as well. I think the most well-rounded people are the people who know as much as humanly possible and ask questions and educate themselves continually. Damn, I need to start reading more. But I do disagree with that. Just because you can understand someone's perspective, it doesn't mean you agree with it. You know what I mean?
And what was it like to have Nancy play you?
It was really powerful for me. And you got where I'm coming from. I could see that you saw me as a person like you and with similar feelings and connections to our family. And you were afraid of losing your kids, and I am saddened by losing my family. It's the same hurt in a different way. And that was really powerful.
What do you think of the other person?
Oh, she's beautiful. She's smart. Empathetic, compassionate, very well educated, and not mentally ill.
Jesus. Oh my God.
Thank you for that
And
one.
not evil.
Thanks.
Yeah, so I apologize for the words that I used. It's terrible to just, label and demonize people when you don't even know their story. I think if I found people being mean at her, I think I'll be the biggest advocate.
I see a extremely resilient and strong woman who fought such an uphill battle in her entire life, doing things that most people wouldn't have the strength to do. And I see a mother that is fierce. You are more open to empathizing to people than I thought you would be. I feel like wearing that hat, you're demonized as well. It's hard to do that when you see the person and who they are.
The other thing I see in Eve is the inner child in her just wants the hug and the love back. So how can she get her parents back, and how can the parents get their child back?
So she really gave you a gift in some ways.
Yeah.
This is a person who shares your parents' beliefs in some ways.
This is so healing.
Yeah.
No, it really
And
is.
has really seen you.
Yeah.
What wisdom can you share, having been through this, with people in the audience?
Pick up that call and make amends. If you don't call right now, it will be a telephone to heaven on either side. We never know about tomorrow. Today, I wish I could talk to my mom to let that go away.
Thank you.
This experience has shown me that we don't have to be so divided, because behind the pride flag, behind the Trump hat, there is a person with a family who has love. And I think that we can be ambassadors of love rather than hate. And I feel the love, and I want to just share it. And I'm glad it was us.
Right.
You can see in their body language too just how much more open they are to each other. Hold on.
I'm called the peacemaker because I'm the person in this role. You guys are obviously the peacemakers, right? You had a lot to lose by being here, and you put it out there for other people, really.
Can I just say, I want
for
this
your
room to
kids,
moderate
for other
everything.
kids, for
I love
trans
this guy.
youth who you care about, for other people who might go through this. I did not know how this would go, right?
Didn't know either.
He's like, y'all,
So
I had no
I've
idea.
been through a bunch of these, and this is deeply personal. So I wondered. I thank you both.
I wonder
To a better world.
To To a better world.
Yeah.
He's done. I'd be
Nancy.
really interested.
Yeah.
Can I give you a hug?
Yes, thank you so much. You were amazing.
Oh my God, she's
Partisans
so
on
fun.
both sides are going to watch this video. Some are going to be angry. They'll think their woman was manipulated. In understanding the other side, she was basically tricked into condoning their evil. Most of us, though, will be inspired by these women. We're so tired of hating and being hated.
Yeah.
Tired of our media and leaders telling us the other side is morally corrupt. Tired of all the little wars that consume us and build nothing. Yeah, we've each chosen a side, but how we long for a different way. Today, Nancy and Eve showed us something remarkable. The other side isn't even remotely who we think they are.
Okay, that's a really cute photo. I'm not gonna lie. I think it took very two specific people to make this video. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's such a hard conversation to have because, like I said, I can understand where someone comes from without agreeing with like their methods and that kind of thing, if that makes sense. I don't think either women were manipulated whatsoever. I think they were just having an extremely human experience. And I think it does show, in general, that in this world, the true testament of everything is to keep people divided and to keep people to having a common, or like a common enemy and an other person. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that, you know, you haven't done bad things. There's so much more nuance to the world and life than people want to actively talk about. This video genuinely was very healing. I do appreciate how their body language like completely shifted throughout the video as they were truly trying to listen to the other person. It also just shows me how often we don't ask who the other person is. You never know what another person is going through. That does not justify inhumane actions. That does not justify mistreating people, right? That being said, I do think that, you know, every single person is going about their life. I mean, I know I've been a bitch to people. I've made mistakes. I'm the villain in at least two people's story. So I think the lesson I got out of this video genuinely is you can understand where a person is coming from. That doesn't mean you agree with their take or the actions that they've taken because of that. Hope you all have a good night. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you all. Bye.